अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं हूँ हैना हुसैन। ऑरलैंडो लाउंज के सोशल सेगमेंट थर्ड एपिसोड हम लोग फोकस कर रहे हैं रिलेशनशिप पे। तो थैंक यू पहले तो आप लोग का फीडबैक एंड आपके क्वेश्चंस आते रहें कि बिकॉज हम उसका फिर जवाब दे सकते हैं। एंड आज सारे व्यूअर्स का रियली शुक्रिया। तो ज़रा से रिकैप करते हैं कि पहले दो सेगमेंट्स में हमने क्या बात की। So first segment we really talked about, in the relationship, what is the number one thing you can start practicing, which Naveed shared with us, our guru in relationship, who is with us again today, and about listening. So how much are we listening to our spouses or bosses when they're talking? Then in the second episode, we talked about, intimacy, affection, that really are you taking responsibility? How much are you acknowledging your partner instead of blaming him? तो ये practices अगर शुरू करें on a daily basis तो ज़िंदगी तो बेहतर होती चली जाएगी। ठीक है? तो आज हमारा जो टॉपिक है वो नवीद शेयर करेंगे, वो है कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन। हर रोज़ की जो ये छोटे छोटे झगड़े, बड़े बड़े झगड़े, उनको कैसे हम ख़त्म करें, बिकॉज ये छोटे झगड़े, बड़े झगड़े हमें अफेक्ट करते हैं, फिर हमारी रिलेशनशिप, फिर हमारी इंटीमेसी, हर चीज़ अफेक्टेड होती है। तो नवीद शेयर करें ज़रा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन। थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग बैक।
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. So, very hot topic today, conflict resolution. And I can share, first of all, from my own life that, people that don't say that they don't ever have a conflict. Some people say, oh, हमारी argument कभी होती नहीं है, मैं बड़ा patient आदमी हूँ, right? Which I used to pride myself, बल्कि my family used to tell me all the time, oh, patient, इतनी patience कहाँ से आई है? Where did you get this much patience? And they used to think I was very wise for not having, not blowing up and not getting very, just, argumentative. The truth was, okay, I was angry, but I was not expressing that anger. So some of you that think, oh, it's better to not ever have any conflict. No, that's a mistake. Because that just means, okay, you're just putting up with whatever they say. Or you're just agreeing just to agree, even though inside you feel you have a difference of opinion. So first thing you must do in conflict resolution is to give up the idea, okay, I'm never going to have a conflict again. How is that possible?
It's not possible.
You will always have a different view from someone else. And if your goal becomes, okay, I should agree with every view that someone else brings to me and every opinion, well, that's no life.
No.
You're not living your life then. You're trying to just accommodate. So first, for those of you that are anti-conflict, that can be a big problem and can really, I would say that's probably one of the main reasons why relationships fail. So that's the first thing we have to deal with.
I think, Naveed, my personal experience, I used to avoid conflict. Just avoid conflict because I was uncomfortable and I didn't want to address anything. But it kept building inside of me, so resentment got built up. So resentment बढ़ता गया, and then छोटी सी बात पे explode हो गई.
Totally. Yeah. And Henna, the exciting thing is, and when we do our workshop, the 2-day seminar in relationships in Orlando, one of the exercises we're going to do, people are going to be able to see, okay, why did they end up how they are, their behavior, where did it come from? A lot of it has to do with childhood.
Right.
Now, I've done a lot of development work. You've done a lot of development work. I now am very clear about, okay, my disposition, my attitude, my personality, ये कैसे form हुई है? So it required some introspection, some examination. It very simply said, I know exactly where it happened. I was 8 years old. I saw my father and my mother arguing. One time, I saw them arguing. First time, I saw them arguing. In that moment, I made a decision. I'm never going to be mean like that.
Right.
That was it. And then I lived by this rule for the rest of my life, even if this rule did not serve me.
Right.
I started to become a people-pleasing, whatever. That their peace was more important than my peace, and so I would avoid conflict like you did.
Wow. So really what Naveed is saying is कि हम लोग जब react करते हैं अपने conversation में और argue करते हैं तो and if let's say your spouse is getting angry on you, they're getting angry because of their own past programming. उनके बचपन में जो हुआ उन्होंने decide कर दिया कि if you want to get my way, मुझे गुस्सा करूंगा as a man तो I can get away with it. And then आपने अपनी अम्मा को देखा या टीचर को देखा, डिसाइड कर लिया कि कुछ ना कहने से ही बेहतर है, तो यही करना चाहिए, बस अपने अंदर घुटते जाओ और ऐसे ही काम करो. तो हम लोग अपने बचपन में बेसिकली डिसाइड कर लेते हैं कि ऐसे रिएक्ट करो based on what we saw in our own childhood. So what really Naveed is saying is that in a conflict that it has to do with his past and your past, that how we react and come together. So when my husband was getting angry at me on things because he saw his dad, getting angry and that was only his way of coping, I used to take it personally instead of now and say, you know what, when someone gets angry at you, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with his own past and his own past programming. What do you think about that?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times, जैसे the response जो हमको मिल रही है, वो response जो है that they're responding to something that happened is not even happening right now. It's from the past. Now, by the way, men also have this, especially men. So men, listen to this. You think that if you back down, that somehow you're going to be weak, considered not a man. कि तुम आदमी हो या क्या? And I remember hearing those kinds of phrases growing up. Be a man. Well, if being a man means shouting at my wife and making her feel smaller, less than the person I call partner, जो हमको बताया गया है कि we should kiss the ground that our mothers walk on, and except for our wife, who's also a mother, by the way.
True.
This conflict, the kind of respect that we're taught to have for our mothers, men, historically speaking, in our culture, we are not taught to have that kind of respect for our own wives, the mothers of our children.
Bilkul.
And this has to stop. This has to stop. Yeah. Our egos have got to get a little smaller. In fact, a lot smaller, I think. I know I had to really check myself. For myself, I had to see. So yeah, a lot of the way we're reacting isn't even to it's just what we've been taught, what we've been programmed to do since being, early on. So that's the first thing to understand about yourself is a lot of the conflict that you deal with, the kind of conflict you deal with, has to do with your upbringing and what you observed in two of the most important, influential characters in your life, your parents. If you rewind, do you remember them arguing? Do you remember that they never argued? Because sometimes you think, they never are. Then maybe I should have more. A lot of your thinking is formed based on what you did not like or what you liked growing up.
Naveed, मेरा एक और एक सवाल है that I think that, for women, all the women out there, that now we want to be this equal partner और हर चीज़ equal चाहिए, तो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा struggle हो गया हमारे modern society में, because we are, shoulder to shoulder, making the money, having a career, and then we feel, oh my God, why should we do everything at home? So that, that equality becomes a conflict. Then I used to feel, oh my God, I want to, why should I prove myself? I'd rather be right than happy. How many of you really in your relationships have done that you'd rather be right and prove your point than be happy?
That's right. Yeah. Then be happy. No, yeah. If you're honest with yourself, most people would prefer being right more than their own happiness.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's what I did. That's exactly what I did, that I wanted to be right rather than happy. Then I figured it out through the educations and seminars that we will be teaching, that how is that serving you? Let go of the ego, and happiness is more important than being right.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It brings up another really important point to understand about the dynamics of a conflict. See, a conflict is only happening because we view something differently.
Yeah. That's all there is to it.
And when I think my view is the right view, and you think that your view is the right view, well, now we have a problem. And where we can begin to resolve that is to begin to start to ask questions about the other person's view. Not questions to try to prove or disprove that you really do have the better view, because that's what I know I do often, is I ask questions so that it makes my view look better.
That's right. So what Naveed is really saying, that when we have a conflict in our conversations with our spouses or even bosses or even kids, there's a lot of conflict. They want to do something, we want to do something. How to resolve that conflict is first acknowledge the other person's perspective. Because in every situation, the other person has his own perspective and you have your own perspective. So acknowledge the perspective and viewpoint that they're bringing in, then share your perspective by not blaming and criticizing and complaining. Just share each other's perspective and then move forward from there.
So exactly, and Henna, I think the problem here in acknowledging, is that we think that by saying कि आपने जो बात करी है वो सही है, like you're agreeing to it. No, I'm not saying, and you're not saying कि आप उनकी बात से agreement में हैं आप. No,
Agree to disagree.
हाँ, you can also just say, okay, that's your view. तो आपका मतलब, आपका मतलब ये है कि, and then you fill in the blank. Because then you're letting the other person know that you at least heard their view. It's we've all had the experience कि आपकी बात जिससे भी बात हो रही है वो आपकी बात सुन नहीं रहे. You know the difference.
Oh yes.
You know when they're not hearing it.
Yeah.
And you're not even always looking for agreement, but you know that they're not listening to you. And what does that feel like when you're not heard?
Yeah.
जो आपकी बात जो is like your voice, you have no voice. And especially for women, there's a definite disenfranchisement. And I agree with your point, that we are expected to be superwomen.
Yeah.
And I think the place to start is your own comparison of the kind of superwoman that you should be. That you should be able to handle the job, the kids, tutor the kids. They should have the best grades. Socially, they should be the best. You should be involved in the community, the religion. You should be handling it all. Oh, by the way, don't forget the house needs to be immaculate and clean. And please don't forget that you need to take care of your man.
Absolutely. So, for women, our level of stress has really gone up because our expectation is we really want to be here, the superwoman, but, things are not going right because we have overwhelmed ourselves and we're here. So the bigger the gap between where you want to be and where you are causes the stress. कम गैप होगा कम स्ट्रेस, ज़्यादा गैप है ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस. और जितना स्ट्रेस होगा आपकी ज़िंदगी में उतना आप अफेक्टेड होंगे, उतना you'll have less patience to deal with your spouse and your kids. So focus on de-stressing what helps you de-stress so you can be a better mother, a better wife, and a better career woman.
Yes. And so far, just to recap, we've covered 2 critical steps in conflict resolution, okay? Number 1, listening.
Yes.
Listening to what they said and not blaming and just listen. And then the second thing was acknowledgement. Acknowledgement ka matlab not agreeing, but just letting them know you heard what they said.
Yeah.
And sometimes the good way to test that is just to repeat it. And then the third step is to clarify what they said. If there's something you don't understand about what they said, ask questions so you can clarify it.
So recap, when you're hearing your spouse, listen patiently and then recap to them that this is what I heard. Because a lot of times they said something, but in our own mind we heard something else because our old tape was playing, our old programming was playing how we were programmed. So be present, listen more, feel heard, acknowledge more, and really just do your best and lessen your stress. That is one of the starting keys. And we're going to do an in-depth 2-day workshop on November 2nd and 3rd in Orlando. And it's going to be totally focused on improving, enhancing, and developing tools and techniques to better your relationships in your life, at home, and at work, and create that balance. And Naveed is the best expert in that field. He's done it for 15 years, over thousands of people. Learn to listen, acknowledge, take responsibility. Don't take things personally when people are getting mad at you, because it's not about you. It's about their programming. The more you work on yourself, the better your life. Even in Islam, it says, he who finds himself finds God. So what are you doing to find yourself?
Great.
And we'll see you in the next episode. Henna Hussain
And
with
Naveed
Naveed
Bhatti.
Bhatti.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.